This above my head is a commander tag, boys. You've seen it because you're world versus world players. Okay, that's that. We're done. No, I'm.
Relating to core fundamental things that you need in a raid in terms of the professions and elite specializations that you'd want in a basic world raid.
Okay, so you're gonna obviously want support. So support is gonna be Firebrand. It's gonna be Scrapper, support Tempest, um, Spellbreaker. That can be either DPS or support. It's debatable. And a Mesmer, a Chronomancer, right?
All right. And how many per should we say 10 people? How many would you
Per
want for
10
10?
people, you'll only really need one Mesmer, two Scrappers, two Firebrands. The Ellie is debatable because if you have two Scrappers, then you've already got really good cleanse. So you probably wouldn't need an Ellie if you have a Scrapper in your party.
It's basically if you're gonna do a stealth squad or not. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Okay. And which profession provides the group wide stuff? I've been meaning to ask that.
Scrapper elites in the blast fields are if you mouse across your skills, you'll see, for example, on Firebrand, it is staff skill 2 because it says combo finisher blast. Okay, so when the stealth field is down, you just stick that on your head. All right, and that then extends the duration of the stealth.
So basically, you'd go stealth in 3, 2, 1. Stealth would happen, then you'd say blast, blast, blast.
If you have a Scrapper, a Firebrand, a Revenant, then you're sorted in your party. You have about 13 seconds of stealth in your party if they will blast properly.
Talking of parties, Liam, right? I know this is probably a really sort of basic question. We should all know this anyway, right? Maximum party numbers,
5.
because right, and the reason for that being,
It doesn't distribute boons properly.
It's because most skills are based on only 5 members, including yourself.
Yeah, it
Yes.
doesn't distribute boons properly or heals properly.
Regarding putting people into subgroups, I noticed that was done. I figured it would be something like that. But would that mean that if I'm in a giant blob of 40 and let's say I'm in subgroup 1 and let's assume it's distributed properly in groups of 5. If I decide to use, let's say for example, Shake It Off, which heals, would that then prioritize the people in my subgroup?
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Only the people in your subgroup group will get it. That's why you have a Firebrand in every party. You have a Firebrand in every subgroup for the stab distribution. You
Okay.
can't have like one Firebrand trying to cover two subgroups because it just won't work.
Okay.
And that's also why every party needs to blast stealth. Every subgroup needs to blast the stealth because if you don't, then your subgroup just won't get it, and you'll be running with the squad revealed, like completely revealed. And a point of view, right? You need to be careful, right? So let's say, for example, they're over here, but like there's a wall in front of us, okay? Let's say, for example, that like there's stairs going up here, and they're like on a lord over there, right? If you're here, then yeah, sure, you can empower and then blast and then run through because they're hitting that lord and there's nothing going on. If they just like stood there and you're really close, like let's say for example this is a gate, let's say, and then the portal's through here, let's say for example a gate on bay, okay, you all know what a gate on bay is like, okay, and then you've got that little portal that you run through, okay, if I say for example empower and then I can either stealth down in 3, 2, 1, but don't blast it. You don't blast it because it will still give you a couple seconds of stealth, and because how close they are, they would hear it if you blasted it. See, that makes noise. Medkit 5 makes a lot of noise. Medkit 5 goes like bang. So you need to obviously judge the distance to the noise. But yeah, when you stealth like that, you can just dodge through the portal and completely bomb the hell out of this arrow right here. Right? And then it's element of surprise, obviously, because you don't want to just go stealthing just for them to know exactly where you are.
Yeah.
Because if they heard it, they would completely disengage and you'd run, and that you wouldn't be able to put the right bomb in because they're running off. So let's say, for example, right, I say empower, so empower, and let's say I go symbols down now, symbols. That's when you put these down, okay? This is just for like that swiftness to make you run faster when you're not in combat. And then when the symbols like slightly disappear like that, because it doesn't take too long and you've still got that loads and loads of stacks of swiftness, right?
Right.
And because after those spirits disappear, then stealth blast down in 3, 2, 1, right? That's what
Yeah.
you gotta do. And then you gotta just blast it, and then because you still got those swiftness, you can run in faster. Because
Yeah.
the scrapper skill super speed, right? That doesn't work if you're not in combat. Okay, so there's no point trying that. The reason you want to put symbols down, you only do it before stuff. You can't do it after. But the reason you want to put symbols down is for that quicker engage. And then like if you're, for example, like pushing in, dodging off, and kiting back a little bit, then re-empower, and then you can call for super speed because you're in combat. Okay. So right now, I'm going to do basic commands and basic callouts because obviously they're much needed. Okay, so one of the
Yes.
first ones is obviously empower. Okay, that is Firebrand skill 4. Okay, the empowers keeps the might up. Okay, and then obviously the might gets you to deal more damage in the bomb. So you're gonna want to empower before an engage if you have time. You're gonna want to empower
Stability.
before an engage so you can get that nice damage and nice big bomb. Like that's why you always empower before a stealth blast. So you have that might and you're just running through and then you can just bomb them on the stealth blast.
Are you gonna give the alternative if you don't have guardians or not?
What do you mean by that? The
To
alternative if I
to
don't have
to
guardians.
to get might stacks.
Well, revenants give them.
You can also get it by blasting fire fields.
Can you?
On a
Yeah.
on a guardian.
You could. I did not know
Like
that.
I said, blasting. Let's say you have no firebrands and you have a lot of elementalists. You can put down fire fields and blast that rather for might stacks.
Yeah,
rather
fire
than
magic
empower.
gives you fire magic stacks your might. That is why the raid builds in PvE, for example, having the trade line fire in because it stacks might and it cleanses. It's not the
I didn't.
healing bit and not the water bit, which is cleansing at the alley, but the fire.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Hmm.
That's good to know. Okay. So we've obviously got that. Okay, we've obviously got the empowers. Okay. So stability. Okay. So how you're gonna want to call for stability? Firebrands, you're gonna either want to call for small stability, which is just gonna be like a fake push, for example. So let's say they're over there, and you say, okay, I'm gonna fake push to the arrow in 3, 2, 1. You fake push to the arrow, and when you fake push, you're gonna want to say small stability up. That is small stability. Okay, so fake push to the arrow in 3, 2, 1. Small stab up and back, and kite back, kite back, kite back. Boom. See, like that, and that hopefully will bait their damage forward. But we can talk about that in a minute. We're just doing commands right now. Okay, so the small stabs that. And then obviously hallowed ground is a command of itself. So you say hallowed ground down for that
Stability, yeah.
resolution. It gives a skill called resolution. Resolution is very, very good because it decreases condi damage. Okay. So if you're running inside a blob and they have like loads of scourges or something, you can run inside and just stick down a hallowed ground field. And then with that hallowed ground field, it's like, oh yeah, nice bit of stability for my party, and I'm being a bit more cleansed, you know. So that's a really helpful thing. I usually say to use that if you're sustaining a gate, or so you don't get pushed off by something, or on the engage of a fight. So I say, okay, we're gonna move in 3, 2, 1, move inside it, and hallowed ground on them in 3, 2, 1, hallowed ground down and bomb. Right? Okay, you've got to that hallowed ground is really important because of that resolution. Like it's not just for the stab. That's a very good skill to use. Okay, and then you've got big stability, which is your stand your ground skill and
Yeah.
your F3. Okay, that you usually call for big stability when you're like about to push in. Like if you're like going balls deep and they're there and you're like, okay, we're gonna push in 3, 2, 1, push now, big stab up now, right? And that's when you want to put the big stability up to make
Yeah.
sure you don't get pulled and stuff while you're like about to push into the blob. Because obviously when you move, you need to stay compact. But how this works, right, with the commander thing, you know, like how everyone's like, oh, you stack on the commander, you get more buffs and stuff. Well, it only happens to like a certain point. I think it's like, if you guys stay there a second, I think from where I am to where you guys are right now is like the point where you don't get as much, like at all. You need to stay within like a 10-foot radius or something to get those to get the better buffs. That's why you need to make sure everyone's stacked. Let's say for example we're kiting backwards, okay, and people are in front of me like you are right now, right? And you've got to that means you don't get the buffs like as well as much. You get less stability, you get less cleanses, which means you're gonna get pulled like right into them, and that's not good. The thing you're gonna have to say when that happens is, guys, don't overextend. Okay, you're gonna have to, even if like there's too many, you as a commander is gonna need to move forward into them and say, right, move back with me, because you're really gonna have to try and sort them out
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make sure that they don't get pulled, because every person counts. Everyone counts. If you're fighting a blob of equal numbers, you cannot afford to lose people.
And some skills only have a range from 180. And
Yeah.
really easy tip is, if you want to know if you're inside the buff range, is just like a symbol of swiftness. And
Yeah,
if
that's
you're
the
in that, then you should have all the buffs that other people are giving.
Okay. It's about the mantra of lore,
Yeah.
cleansing.
Yeah.
Is it usable, or I better use the Hello Ground?
Use both.
Use both. Yeah, you have them for a reason.
Switch.
What I do on the engage, I use Solace, Law, Stand Your Ground on an engage. Okay, so as I'm pushing in, I go 6, 7, 8, and then F3. Okay, so you get that bit of extra stab, and then you get resolution from using the F3. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
and then you've also got quickness there, you've got might there, and you've got ages there. And ages is very important as a firebrand. And then you just gotta roll through the skill rotation with that F3 skill, and you should know that for your class. I'm going to say one more thing about Firebrand before we move on. Okay, so the good thing about commanding as a Firebrand is you have that stability there. Like, if you're not commanding as a Firebrand, then you have to like trust the other Firebrand in your party to not make a mistake. Because if you're running around commanding as like a DPS class, for example, with no self stability, you really have to rely on that person and make you to give you stab. Because if you're about to push in and you're at the front, you can get pulled. Right. That's why playing Firebrand is easier to command on, because you don't have to rely on anybody, and they are also hella tanky. So you can just run in and you will survive. Like, you can survive a bomb by yourself for at least 4 seconds. By that point, you would already have your healing on you. That's the good thing about Firebrand. If you have like the right armor and the right runes and stuff, and if you're playing it right, you'll survive. That's